Double game week 24. My triple captain is active and I've confirmed 3 of my 4 transfers for this week. In today's video, we're going to have a look in theory at my first transfer plans going into double game week 24. We'll have a look at how my team is lining up, what transfers I've confirmed, what I plan on doing in my final free transfer, and what it means for my team going forward. We'll also answer some of the big questions of the week. Should you be looking at triple captain or the new assistant manager chip as well? What is up, everyone? FPL Harry here. Before we dive in, 2,000 likes is the aim. Subscribe if you are new around here. And it is a Monday morning upload because of the games we had going all the way up until 9 o'clock last night, which did impact my decision making a little bit. And then I made a transfer at about midnight last night. So we are up in the morning recording this video and hopefully it'll be out for you at a usual time. But diving in, I've confirmed 3 of my 4 transfers. I rolled last week and in theory, I should have bought Gakpo last week, and I'm slightly chasing points a little bit with him, but I didn't really ever think buying Gakpo was what I was going to do. I always thought I would go to Alisson, and I'd do Raya to Alisson, and the information that I gained looking at Liverpool, and also then on Sunday when we saw Fabianski lose his place at West Ham, although I'd already confirmed 2 of the transfers by that point, just gave me the confirmation I needed that Alisson was not the third Liverpool asset that I wanted to go for. So, as a result, I've already confirmed 3 transfers. On Saturday evening, I did the bottom of the 2 of these. So, Gordon and Kluivert and João Pedro and Gakpo, I did on Saturday evening. Kluivert was predicted to rise, and he did. Gakpo also predicted to rise, and he did. So, that's already 0.2 million in value that I've gained. I expect both of them to rise probably again before the deadline, if not next Saturday, the day of the deadline. João Pedro is predicted to drop before the deadline as well, and Anthony Gordon may well drop in price himself between now and Saturday as well, with a lot of people looking at moves like this or another midfielder in Bryan Mbeumo as well. Now, I got fed up with João Pedro. One big thing for me, I was watching the game and there was a moment right towards the end of the game in the highlights that Verbruggen, they were chasing the game, Verbruggen had the ball and he passed it sideways in the 90th minute as they're trying to clear it to get a winner, and they didn't pass it to their left back. They passed it to João Pedro playing at left back. In the 90th minute, when their team are chasing a winner or an equaliser, my striker is playing at left back, and that was enough for me. Enough was enough with João Pedro's positioning. Every time they sub on an attacking player, he drops further and further away from the goal. Welbeck is now in front of him. Ruta came on early and went in front of him. João Pedro just drops deeper and deeper, so I decided that he was the one to go. I've held on to Chris Wood and Gakpo came in. Gordon was always a transfer I was likely to make. It was going to be to Mbeumo, and I still plan on buying Bryan Mbeumo with my final transfer, but I sold him instead of Bruno Fernandes to Kluivert because there was always a chance that Bruno Fernandes stayed in my team. He's likely to play, well, he is going to play in the blank in game week 29, so there's always that slight bit of extra appeal, plus the Manchester United fixtures that Fernandes had a higher chance of staying in my team than Gordon did. So Gordon went down to Kluivert to free up the money for João Pedro to Gakpo. Then on Sunday evening, I confirmed David Raya out to Jordan Pickford. Now, I was really torn with this. I was considering upgrading Fabianski to Pickford and having both of them as my goalkeepers. The only issue with that is I would have been spending 10.6 million on goalkeepers, which would have been the more than I've ever spent on goalkeepers in FPL in my entire time playing the game, just for one extra double basically, which wouldn't have been worth it. So I did sell David Raya, who did get me a great 9-pointer this week. Jordan Pickford has come in. I've got 1 free transfer left. I now have 5 doublers. I've got 1.2 million left in the bank and 1 free transfer as well. So looking at my team going into game week 24 now, the double, after I've confirmed those 3 transfers. We are recording, of course, after game week 23 has ended. We'll do a proper review of that in my team selection video on Thursday. But I have got a green arrow. Went from 44k up to 38k without owning Gakpo. Feels like a decent enough game week. Actually, big returns from pretty much all my defenders. I got Munoz. I had Gabriel Trent starting. I also had Greaves and Mikalenko on my bench. And I had David Raya in goal. So basically all my defensive players, apart from Fabianski, who's lost his place, did get me a return. In terms of my starting 11, we've now got Jordan Pickford in goal, along with Mikalenko. Gabriel is going to play against Manchester City. And then we've got Trent. So 3 doublers in there plus Gabriel. Into midfield, we've got Palmer, Salah, Fernandes, and new transfer in Kluivert, Gakpo, Isak, and Chris Wood as well. Team is starting to look really nice. 1.2 million in the bank. Still one free transfer. Pretty happy with how the squad is now. Looking at the bench, I've got Ahmad, Greaves, and Munoz. It rotates well. That was always the plan with the defense, not to make really any defensive transfers because they rotate really well. As we see this week, Munoz going away to Manchester United. Perfect timing for Mikalenko to come in for his double game week. So one free transfer left. Fernandes is the one that I look at that I might potentially sell, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the other glaring thing, of course, is that the triple captain is active. Of course, it is a chip that you can activate and you can deactivate, but I don't see any reason why I won't play my triple captain on Mo Salah. It is not a fantastic double. It is not a great opportunity, but we only have 3 double game weeks left predicted in game week 24, game week 33, and game week 36. I've also got the assistant manager chip and the bench boost to play in the later doubles, and I don't really want to save it. Now, I could play it on Palmer when he's got Southampton at home in a single. I could play it on Salah in a single game week. I just don't think it's really worth it. You get the extra possibility of bonus points in the double because you've got 2 games. You get the extra appearance points as well, which 2 appearance points tripled is already 6 extra points if you play it in the double. So almost certain it'll be on Mo Salah. Vice captain at the moment is going to be on Cody Gakpo. It could end up on Trent, but I'm really hoping I don't need the vice captain for the triple captain. Salah has got it. 3-4-3, already 3 transfers confirmed, and 1 more I think I'm going to make. So no prizes for guessing what my final potential transfer might be. I'm very certain, probably 90% plus, that I'm going to sell Bruno Fernandes and buy Bryan Mbeumo. I haven't done it at the moment because Fernandes hasn't been predicted to change price, and nor has Bryan Mbeumo. If there is price changes predicted, I probably will end up doing the transfer early. It doesn't look like that's going to happen until probably at least Thursday or Friday this week, though. Bruno Fernandes has been okay since I've owned him. I've always questioned a little bit if 8.4 million has been a good price tag to own him. And he's always the player that if I've needed a bit of money, selling Bruno Fernandes is probably the place I would get it. Now, I don't need the money, but I also think Bryan Mbeumo with the upcoming fixtures just looks like a fantastic option. I also own Ahmad for Manchester United, and in the past couple of games in Europe and in the Premier League against Fulham, Fernandes has been playing back in that sort of central midfield role alongside Ugarte, where his attacking threat is completely diminished and he's much less likely to get attacking returns. So that might stick. It also might not. It also might depend on whether Garnacho stays in the transfer window or not. If he does stay, it does feel likely that Fernandes will play more and more time in a reserved role. Bryan Mbeumo scored his penalty after missing it. I actually kind of wish that he did just miss it for my own rank, but I'm buying him now. He's got Spurs at home this week, which just looks like such a good fixture. Then it is West Ham, then it is Leicester, then it is Everton. I don't really want to go without Bryan Mbeumo for those fixtures, and then the long-term ones again are pretty good as well. I am also looking at a potential double up with bringing in Yohan Wissa, potentially for Chris Wood. That's for one later down the line, but having at least one Brentford player for those next 4 or 5 fixtures feels like a no-brainer. And Fernandes has been okay. I'm just not sure he's the best long-term hold now. So before we go back and have a look at my team, just to answer a few of your questions. First of all is triple captain versus assistant manager chip. Before we debate them both, I want to add a little bit of caution on the assistant manager chip. First of all, some of you have been messaging me saying you've had issues playing the assistant manager chip on the app and it actually impacting other chips like the free hit as well. If you're going to play the assistant manager chip, play it on desktop, play it on PC rather than playing it on the app. And you don't have to play it now. Wait right up until the deadline because managers are not going to change in price. And the other thing is, it's not like a wild card where you get to change your manager unlimited times before the first deadline. If you activate it and put it on David Moyes and then change your mind and think, I want to put it on Arne Slot, or you want to deactivate it, you can't deactivate the chip. And in order to change it from David Moyes to Arne Slot will cost you a transfer. So just be a little bit cautious about activating it, that you know 100% you're going to play it and you know what manager you're going to play it on as well. Personally, if you have all the chips left, I would be playing the triple captain. Triple captain is the weakest chip. I'd play it in what looks like a weak double away at Bournemouth and away at Everton as well. I also am not certain that I want to use the assistant manager so early on a team I want 3 players from. I've spoken about this before, that I want a triple up on Liverpool. I think Gakpo can do well for the next couple of game weeks and into the long term as well. So I don't want to use a chip up that is so powerful, but then also blocks me from going on triple Liverpool as well. So I much prefer the triple captain chip this week. In terms of would I sell Chris Wood to Gakpo, a big transfer that's being asked about this week. If it's your only route to Gakpo, yes, I would. The upcoming fixtures for Nottingham Forest are not that great. If it is your only route, yes. If you have another route to him, like I did this week, like downgrading someone and doing João Pedro to Gakpo, I do prefer that. But if it's your only route to him, I would do those moves. And the final one is Iliman Ndiaye of Everton. Now, there is a very small injury risk for Ndiaye that he did go off. He did ask to be taken off at the end of the game against Brighton. So if you don't have to buy Ndiaye early, I would probably err on the side of caution a little bit and try and wait until the press conference to make sure that he's okay. But with Dominic Calvert-Lewin looking like he's pulled his hamstring, Ndiaye is on penalties. We saw that at the end of the game. He does have a double of Leicester and Liverpool, both at home, and in the blank in game week 29, he has a good fixture at home to West Ham as well. So if you have the ability to bench Ndiaye between now and the blank, you also have the ability to maybe sell him again because you've got luxury transfers, then yes, I would look at going Iliman Ndiaye. But he is definitely a punt. He is far from essential. You definitely don't need him. But if you own a Delap, you own a Raul Jimenez, you own a João Pedro, and you can't get to Gakpo, then yes, Iliman Ndiaye for a punt is absolutely fine. So going back to my team, as I said, already confirmed 3 of my 4 transfers, and I know pretty likely what the final transfer is going to be, and that will be Bruno Fernandes out for Brian and Burmo. Haven't confirmed it yet. That will give me a slight benching decision at the moment. Ahmad is on the bench because I don't want to double up on Manchester United midfield. But then once I don't own Fernandes, Kluivert versus Ahmad will be a little bit of a debate. Of course, Ahmad has what is an easier fixture on paper, but Kluivert is definitely playing for a team more in form, and he is a player probably more in form than Ahmad, although that is pretty difficult to be with the way Ahmad has been playing recently. Kluivert is also on penalties as well, so he at the moment is the one I plan on starting in my team. Triple captain on Mo Salah, vice captain on Cody Gakpo. Pickford is already in, Kluivert is already in, Gakpo is already in. It is a 3-4-3. Things are looking quite nice. I'm quite happy with how my team is lining up going forward. I don't have loads of players who are predicted to blank in game week 29. I basically, depending on the results, have a maximum of 5. And I've got loads of transfers between now and the blank to sell some of those players. So I don't feel like I'm in the worst position. Up to 38k now. Triple captain is active. Fingers crossed for a green arrow in the double. We'll, of course, talk more about your questions and players to buy, my chip strategy, going into the team selection and later on in the week as well. If you do have specific questions about your team that aren't answered in this video, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. If not, I will read them and hopefully answer them in future videos later this week as well. So make sure you subscribe for when those videos do go live. It is, of course, the first double game week of the season. It is nice to have it. They are the most exciting game weeks of the season as well. Thank you all so much for watching. 2,000 likes is the aim. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll be back again very soon.